The Green Knight. This is a film starring Dev Patel where he goes on a magic mythical quest. It's been out for a few weeks. I decided to see this for one and a half reasons. The half reason being it got good reviews, which really means nothing to me at this juncture because I've seen a lot of movies this year and pretty much all of them have been exclusively crap. Some of them got good reviews, some of them didn't. But the Tigers weren't playing tonight. And so I decided, what the heck, I got to find a way to occupy my time. So I decided to go to the theater to see this. And I don't know if I like this movie. It is a good movie. I do believe that this is a very well-made, good film. It is weird as and I can't, in good conscience, recommend it as a mainstream, viewing experience. But, man, I really appreciate this movie. I don't know if I liked it, but I sure as hell appreciate it, and that's where I'll get into what I liked. David Lowery directed this. I have not seen any of his other films, but I'm interested in going back and watching them now because this is a beautiful movie to look at. Wow, is this thing well directed. I mean, a lot of natural light. The whole thing plays out like a fantasy, like a fairy tale, like a dream, honestly. And this is a gorgeous movie to look at. There's a lot of sweeping, epic cinematography. You could watch this thing on mute, I feel like, and just enjoy watching it. Even if you're not experiencing it, just watching it, it's worth it just for that experience. I think this is a masterfully well-made movie despite some of the flaws that it does have. I think Dev Patel is excellent in this. Dev Patel is one of those actors that I just always root for. Maybe it's just because, when Slumdog Millionaire came out, it was kind of like this underdog story and therefore an underdog movie that became this big mainstream hit. It won 8 Oscars, and ever since then, I've always rooted for him. And he's one of those actors who's been very smart with his selection of the movies that he wants to be in. I think he's picked good projects outside of, The Last Airbender, but that was 11 years ago. We can forgive him for that. I'm going to go back to this real quick, but it wouldn't shock me if David Lowery got some recognition for Best Director. And maybe not for the Oscars, but the Saturn Awards or something smaller, because this is just a visual marvel, quite frankly. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for making a film that should not have held my interest as much as it did. And that's where I'm going to get into the problems I have with this thing. I don't care for any of these characters. I didn't find the journey that Dev Patel went on very gripping, very engaging. It kept me going because of how beautiful it looked. But when you're making a movie that is over 2 hours, which is what this film is, I think it's listed at 2 hours and 10 minutes. That includes credits, so it's right around 2 hours. You really need to have a character or two that you really connect with. And as good as Dev Patel is in this movie, I did not connect with any of these characters. None of them felt very tangible. None of them felt very real. And I think it's the problem sometimes with kind of setting a movie in this time period is that none of these people feel very real or very honest. It's not a particularly well-written film. The movie is strange. The movie is weird. And as someone who is a lover of film, I appreciated it for that. But like I said at the beginning, I think mainstream audiences are really not going to connect with this thing. And you look at on Rotten Tomatoes, I think that the critical rating is in the upper 80s, maybe even in the 90s, but the audience rating is 50%. And that does not surprise me. I think that this is a movie made for people who really admire visual storytelling. You do need to have a film that's grounded in some sense of reality, or else I feel like the audience is going to feel very alienated. And that's kind of how I felt watching this. I didn't connect with any of the characters. The movie at points just becomes a little bit too strange for its own good. I mean, it is a bizarre viewing experience. And I feel like in a lot of other years, I would give this a much lower rating. And I guess this is probably going to be a shorter review, but I'll just jump right into my rating. I've been fighting with what to give this because I can't recommend it to anyone that I know. The few friends that I have, I'm not going to go to them and say, hey, man, you really got to see The Green Knight. It is beautiful. I think almost all of them will come back and watch it and say, why did you recommend that to me? I hated this movie. I think a lot of people are going to hate this film. But I've seen so much crap this year. And I've seen so many movies that had zero effort put into it. And David Lowery as a director, and he wrote this thing as well. And while I felt like as a screenplay, this thing falls remarkably short, it's so beautiful to look at. And it has a real vision to it that even if I didn't agree completely with the vision itself, I do recommend this movie. I feel like everyone should watch this movie at least once. And you may hate it. I don't recommend paying $9, which is what I paid to go see this thing tonight. But as a whole, I think that this is a good movie. Yeah. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. which is higher than any movie that I've rated this year. The highest I've given any movie up to this point had been a 6. And I don't think it'll make my top 10 list necessarily, though. I mean, we're in August 9th, August 10th by the time this thing gets uploaded. And it is technically my favorite movie of the year so far, but it's one of those movies I appreciated, but I think a lot of mainstream audiences will not feel that way. And that's fine. It's my opinion. But yeah, I give it a thumbs up because I think it achieved a lot of the things that it was trying to achieve. All right, that'll do it for this review. You can follow me on Twitter at Castellani2014. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get those watch hours up. Thank you for watching. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Peace and happiness.